Hi, this is a review of the F181 Universe Explorer Quadcopter. This is a 6-axis quadcopter that you can see here, and it comes with a built-in camera. This is a HD camera, so let's just go ahead and unbox it and see what comes inside. So it looks like we have some information here, some user menu showing you how to use everything here. Then there is a little quick user menu for new player. Then we have a little review card. Then here's the quadcopter itself. So here again, everything you see in the package. You got some blade guard right here, so you have to install these. Look like these are the foot for the quadcopter. You have a quadcopter itself here, pretty light, and there is the camera module which is strapped to the bottom of this. Look like it just slide into like that. There we go. And come with these 4 setup blades right here. You also have a kit with screwdriver, setup blade, and also a micro SD card reader. I have here probably the battery. Let's see. Here is the battery with a charger. Look like you have 2 different chargers for 2 batteries. Let me see where's the additional battery. And then here's the remote. The remote control is plastic. Feel kind of cheap, but we'll see how that works. So it looks like the additional battery is already installed in here, and it's covered underneath this flap here. So one thing I already don't like is the fact that you have to always take the camera out in order to access the battery, and which means you could potentially damage this camera. There's a little attachment here, you can take this camera off, so it looks like you can use the other kind of camera here. Pretty small little unit. At the bottom here you have the charging port, you have the on-off switch, and then you have the video LED in for this video here, and then there's some LED down, and there's your remote. We got some information here, look like directional pad. You got these pads here probably for trimming. LED in the middle here. We got 2 buttons up top. So we're gonna have to touch it down and see what's going on here. So you can see here I have the blade guard installed. They're pretty easy, just 1 screw to install here, and at the bottom the feet is also installed. Everything is in place now, so I'm going to charge it up and play with it. So I've been playing with the F181 quadcopter for the past 2 weeks or so. I managed to take it to the park about 2 or 3 times total, and I'm playing around my house a few times. Around my house there's a lot of trees, so it's a little bit tougher to play with, so I like to take it to the park. But the only issue is that when you take it to the park, there's a big open field, and with that there's a lot of wind sometimes, so I had to be careful. Anyway, I crash it quite often. It hit trees, it crashed into the ground, it ran into trees, and after all of that it still managed to work fine. Nothing ever fall off it. The blades are scratched a little bit, and the feet are damaged and scratched, but nothing bad. I do want to point out that initially I installed feet backward. I have the feet installed frontward and backward, and what happened is the camera actually was hitting it, and you can see that from my image and video that the camera is actually picking up the feet. So by moving the feet to the proper side on each side, it was a lot better. I feel like the springy plastic feet here really helps with breaking a lot of the fall. When it hit the ground or the grass with the feet, it bounces a little bit. And also when it falls, I just let it fall, and when I get near the bottom, I usually give it a little bit of power trying to control it. But sometimes even with a lot of power, it's falling too fast, it won't be able to recover. The one thing I do like about this guy is that the batteries is installed inside the unit here, and there's a door that closes it, and then the camera go underneath that. And during all my time playing with it, the fall and all that stuff, the batteries never come out, unlike the previous version I have, which the batteries stick at the bottom and keep flying out. The downside to this is that since the battery is inside a compartment, there is no ventilation, it seems, and the battery do get pretty hot toward the end after you run. So there's one thing interesting in this unit, and that is the ability to record to go home. So let me show you the controller right here. So on this controller, if you mash this right arrow here, that is on the left stick, if you hit that button, it will basically try to go home. That sounds pretty easy, but in practice it was a lot harder than that. So what happened is I get my quad to go out of the way, maybe 100 feet in front of me or something. Then according to the instruction, which I had to ask the company because it was not really written well in the menu, I had to turn it around. So there's the front of the unit, like here as you can see, there's a blue side. You can turn it around, and after you turn it around, you can press this button and it will try to come back to the remote control, wherever the remote control is. The problem is that, unlike some of the fancier machine, this one, it just basically go on a straight path toward the remote control. Basically, you need basically a clear eyesight. So if it has tree, it will run to the tree. If there's someone in the way, it will hit someone. So the other thing is that if you have let's say wind blowing at the car, it will drift sideways and it will try to go straight in the same path, and the result is that it will be far away from the remote and actually doesn't get close. So what I do is I just test it by pressing the button. It will try to beep. It will beep here and it will come back. And as it's coming back, I make some adjustment for it to keep coming back. And you can get out of that mode by pressing that button again. So I do want to point that out. So yes, it does what it's supposed to, but it doesn't do it really well. So in case anyone wondering about that. Speaking of the wind, this quadcopter best work when there's really no wind. But usually when you play outdoor, there's always going to be a little bit of wind outside. So I found that under 5 miles per hour wind just can handle it like a champ, no problem at all. I play it under 10 miles per hour wind, still okay, but you're going to drain the battery a little bit fast. The fastest wind I played in this is when it was 14 miles per hour. It was out in the field, and during that time I was basically constantly making adjustment in order to keep it straight or hovering toward me or whatever direction I'm trying to go. So it's possible, but it's a lot more work, and anything less than 5 miles per hour wind is going to be really stable and easy to play with. So if you are struggling and fighting with the wind, what you're going to find is that the battery is going to cut in half because you're constantly making an adjustment and the motor is working really hard to help you out. Next, let's talk about the camera. There's a camera underneath here. This camera is spec 720p, and it does have a 720p sensor. However, the optics is pretty terrible on it. It will record footage, as you can see from these footage throughout this video. There's no gimbal or anything, so the camera is just mounted right there, so the vibration from the motor, the blade, will transfer over to it. And as you can see, the image is not horrible for video. The other thing I want to point out is that it does record sound, and unless you're not moving, the unit is up, you're not going to be able to hear anything else. So as soon as the unit starts, all you're going to hear is the blade whirling, as you can hear. It's quite loud. Finally, I want to talk about the pictures quality. When you try to take a picture with this, it's pretty hard to do that unless you just stay in one spot. So if you are in hover mode with not a lot of wind, you can take a decent good pictures, but as soon as you're moving, the camera is not fast enough, you can take a picture, it's going to be blurry. Finally, I want to get into the battery life. As I mentioned previously already, the battery lasts about 10 minutes, and even with the camera on the whole time, it seems to last about 8 to 10 minutes, which is quite decent. These batteries are 750 milliamp lithium polymer, so they last a decent amount. They do get kind of hot. If you're playing in a strong windy condition, you're going to cut your playtime down dramatically. So having 2 batteries really help. You can play with one, and when one runs out, you can land it, put in the other one, and continues. They do recommend that you let the unit cool down a little bit so you don't burn the motor, but I just play back to back, and that seems to be not an issue at all. Another thing that's kind of cool is this thing has this LED here. When you first turn them on, when you're trying to pair them with your receiver, they'll blink, and then after that they'll stay on. You can turn it off if you want to, and also at night you want to turn them on because you can see them at night. It's kind of cool to play at night, especially if you have a big open field. Also, these light will blink, and your receiver, your transmitter will also beep to let you know that your battery's low after 9-10 minutes, and that's when you need to know to land it. Even if you don't land it, it's going to slowly drop down, and it's going to drop and sit on the ground. So overall, this little F181 quadcopter is a pretty fun quadcopter. Compared to the Discovery quadcopter, this one is a little bit more heavy, but it managed to fight the wind pretty well. The Discovery quadcopter to me was fun. It was very light, so it seemed to, even with a smaller 500 milliamp battery, it was able to last 10 minutes like this one. This one is really fun. You do not have to install this blade guard, which is actually give it more stability and control, but with this blade guard, you're going to save your blade if you crash it, which I do quite often. So another thing I want to point out about this unit is that it has one more features, and that's the flip over features. You press this button up here, you will hear a little beep, and then you can rotate any direction, and it will do a full 360 flip and land back on the side. The only problem is that you need to have a lot of distance when you're doing that. If you're doing it low to the ground, it's going to flip, and during that time it's going to fall, and that fall is a good 3 or 4 feet. So if you don't have enough space, when it falls, it's going to hit the ground. So make sure you're really high up when you're doing those kind of things. The remote control itself is not labeled. There's no label on it at all. There's a screen here kind of give you an idea of what's going on. But other than that, I find that playing with it for a while, you will be able to figure it out pretty easy. So that's my quick review of the F181 quadcopter. It's a pretty fun little toy. It's pretty easy to fly if you don't manage to run into crazy windy condition. The video is decent for just kind of budget and just kind of price range. Pictures quality is kind of crap, but kind of give you an idea. It's kind of fun little toy to play with. Introduction into quadcopter, and you can start playing with these and get an idea of it before you buy the really fancy $300, $400, $1,000 one. Just respect other, don't fly over their house, don't stalk people, don't hit people with it. Enjoy. Thank you.